तो
This conference will now be recorded.
यस, आज आपका 3 से 4 इंटरनल प्रैक्टिकल है, देखो, है ना?
यस सर।
के अलावा 3 से 4 तो सभी टाइमली कनेक्ट कर लेना। और आज आपका प्रैक्टिकल कौन से सब्जेक्ट का है?
सर फूड प्रोडक्शन।
इंट्रोडक्शन टू फूड प्रोडक्शन ना?
यस सर।
तो प्रैक्टिकल अपने साथ लेके बैठना, ठीक है?
ओके सर।
हाँ, और अभी मैं बता दूंगा आपको कि कहाँ पे होगा प्रैक्टिक आपका। वो मेरे ख्याल इसी पे ही होगा, जिसपे गो टू मीटिंग पे ही होगा। तो मैं आप लोगों को बता दूंगा, इसी पे ही होगा। तो और आपको ज्वाइन कर लेना है, ठीक है, टाइमली। तो अभी हम कर रहे थे एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप डेवलपमेंट में, हम कर रहे थे बिजनेस प्लान। तो बिजनेस प्लान हमारा आधा हो गया था, आधा रह गया था। तो उसको आज हम पूरा करते हैं, बिजनेस प्लान को पहले तो, ठीक है? बिजनेस प्लान करने के बाद जो भी आपकी क्वेश्चन क्यूरीज हो उससे रिलेटेड आप पूछ सकते हो। और अगर आप लोगों ने वीडियो बनाई हो तो वो वीडियो ग्रुप पे भेज दो। उस पे वीडियो का नाम लिख देना, प्रैक्टिकल इंट्रोडक्शन टू फूड प्रोडक्शन, ठीक है? अगर आपने कोई भी वीडियो बनाई है खाने की, तो उसमें आप उस वीडियो का नाम लिख देना, प्रैक्टिकल इंट्रोडक्शन टू फूड प्रोडक्शन सबमिटेड टू मिस्टर। ठीक है?
ओके सर। सर
हाँ हाँ,
सर कोई भी वीडियो मतलब किसी भी खाने की वीडियो भेज सकते हैं या फिर वो सॉसेस वाली या मसाला वाली उससे अलग भी कोई भेज सकते हैं?
हाँ, अलग भी भेज सकते हो आप, कोई भी खाने की एक वीडियो। बस उस पर नाम जरूर डाल देना कि प्रैक्टिकल इंट्रोडक्शन टू फूड प्रोडक्शन सबमिटेड टू मिस्टर लवली।
सर व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे भेजनी है ना?
हाँ, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में भेज दो,
ठीक है सर।
ठीक है? अभी मैं आपको एक वीडियो चला रहा हूँ, बिजनेस प्लान कंटिन्यूड है वो। तो जो हम बिजनेस प्लान कर रहे थे हम वो करेंगे अब, ठीक है? तो आई होप कि आपको स्क्रीन दिख रही होगी।
यस सर, विजिबल है।
Competition
आवाज
is
आ रही है?
regarded
यस
as
सर।
dirty things.
ओके, सो
Like
ये
as
है
someone said,
हमारा। हमने अलग अलग बिजनेस प्लान के बारे में अलग अलग पड़ाव में पढ़ा। तो अभी हमें कंपटीशन पे, तो कंपटीशन क्या, हमें बिजनेस प्लानिंग में कंपटीशन की कहाँ जरूरत पड़ती है और कैसे हमें इसको देखना पड़ता है, ठीक है? तो लिसन इट केयरफुली।
competitions is a bitch, but that's what gives us puppies. Meaning that because there is competition, we are trying to overcome the competition and we are trying to win. So competition, more so for particularly for this context, there is competition, and that you are going to talk about, and you are going to prove that by winning over the competition, you are going to become a winner. So there is competition, but we are going to become a winner. That is the philosophy of this dialogue tagline. Understand and respect competition. So this goes well with the tagline that competition should not be ignored. You would dismiss them, meaning your reader will dismiss you because they will think that you don't have any idea about market competition and you are unprepared. If you are not aware about the presence of competition, you cannot remain prepared with the to fight the competition. You focus on your USP to compete, to beat the competition, meaning there should be a particular focus. USP is unique selling proposition, meaning there should be some factor in your product or business model that is going to give you the competitive edge. So for example, your product has a feature that is not present in your competitor's product, and then that feature is most sought after by your customer. In that case, your customers are going to buy your product. So that is your USP. Your USP may be just after sales service. You offer wonderful service that others are not offering, something like that. So that is how you beat competition. If you follow Porter's 5 forces analysis and put your company perspective or the whole market perspective against your company, you will do a wonderful justice to project before your audience the real competitive landscape of your business. So give the 5 forces and you explain that we stand in this competitive landscape with these forces, and there is every reason for us to win. The information should emerge automatically. Then comes chapter 5, which is strategy. Strategies are the actions that you're going to take to overcome the challenges that you have projected in the previous chapters. That market has competition, and we are going to overcome the competition or beat the competition. How? Through these strategies. So here you say all the strategies. Now look at the tagline. We shall either find a way or make one, meaning that we shall either discover existing knowledge or we shall explore what strategies can be executed, implemented so as to beat the competition, or maybe we have to invent something, some strategies to fight. So either we shall find one or we shall make one. So you assess what your competitive position is. Maybe Porter 5 forces analysis will give you. Then you kind of tell the audience how you're going to kind of challenge this competition. How competitive is your business in each of the main market segment? If you have one segment, then how you stand in that particular segment. What is your strategy for strengthening competitiveness in key segment or boosting the balance of your overall portfolio of the segment, maybe multiple products? What risk you foresee and what opportunities that can come out of this risk that you foresee. It's very important. Neither you exaggerate your opportunities, saying that we have a wonderful, groundbreaking, earth-shattering opportunities. Not like that. You be realistic on your opportunities. At the same time, do not gloss over the risks either. Meaning, you also talk about the risk. I have been overemphasizing on this point. It can never be overemphasized. Tell your strategies to beat the competition. There are too many times it has been repeated. There are a number of ways you can try to sustain your competitive edge through all these and many more. One is technology. You have a patent and you have a technology that is protected by patent. Then you continue to innovate to remain ahead of the technology that is emerging. Then you continuously improve the process so that you can reduce cost of production and you can have pricing power, meaning that you can sell the product at a slightly less price than the competitors and win. You do content marketing, meaning you educate your customer about you empower them to think what they should look for in a product and how competitors may be fooling them or maybe they're confusing them, and you educate them about what to look for in a product and what are there in your product. That is how you get the confidence of your customer, and then you are capable of making a relationship with them, lasting relationship. Content marketing we have seen in case of Huggies and many more. I have given some examples. Investment in branding, very important. You create brand and customer becomes loyal, because through brand you send a message. You give your own narrative that resonate the customer's need, requirement, their persona, and then there is a unique connection. And after that, even if you increase your price, customer will still continue to buy your product. So invest in customer relationship. building customer relationship. Particularly for business to business ventures, customer relationship is all the more important, and it can actually be built. Mark Twain once said about resources, that it is not the size of the dog in the fight that matters, it is the size of the fight in the dog that matters. Meaning, it's not number of people you have this metric that we have 100 people working for us. It is the power of them, the skill that they bring, the capability, their capabilities that matters. So most investors normally say that we invest in the team. Why so? Because team brings so much of competitive advantage. They bring the managerial skill, they bring the skill for marketing, for operation, etc. So that is the main component, one of the main components of resources. So resources can be many more, like technology is a resource, personnel that you recruit are resources, input requirements like access to raw material, services, utilities, like suppose it's water intensive process. So if you are at some place where water is far below the ground level, you are in trouble. So if you are close to water bodies, this is something like you have access to this particular resource. Logistic requirement like distribution. You are selling, say how to distribute through retail network, how you're going to deliver it to the customer, and if customers are spread all across the country, how you're going to give services after sales. So logistic is a huge concern depending on the type of your product. Financial requirement. Financial resource is definitely one of the key resources. Other resources are like personnel. So you need management who can manage your business. You need marketing resources who can create, acquire and retain customers. Operational, you have to have your operation efficient so that you can cut cost and you can remain competitive in the marketplace. Chapter 7 is financial outlay. Financial outlay, financial closure, and then financial projections. Financial outlay meaning how much money you need and why you need them. So you have to have a list of items like capital asset or maybe fixed asset like equipment, building maybe one of them, and then all other say items that you want to buy, say furniture, fixture, interior, etc. That is one part, that is the capital investment that you make. The other investment like for working capital, like procuring raw material, maintaining finished goods, and then meeting your day-to-day expenses. So everything together is your financial outlay, meaning how much money or capital you need to successfully run this business. Financial closure means what are the sources of money that you can bank upon to meet your financial outlay. So these are the two ends that should meet, meaning this is the amount of money that you need and these are the sources to completely fund this requirement. Third is the projected financials. We're going to see that moving forward. So suppose you are going to start your company next year, say 1st of April. So till 1st of April, whatever expenses you have incurred, these may be either capital investment or maybe your regular expenses. All expenses that you have incurred either can be shown in a profit loss account, but since you have no sales till that time, it is better to club them in a single entity and call them preliminary and pre-operative expenses that you can carry in the balance sheet in the form of asset, and then gradually amortize them, and then that means you are charging your profit loss account not now but gradually moving forward. So this entire thing should be shown separately in the appendix, not really in the body. In the body you can just write that we have already invested so and so money for R&D, for development of the product, and these are the sources, meaning the founders have brought this, they have raised many crowdsourcing or any other source, maybe friends and relatives. So this gives the picture about the present, the status so far. And this actually talks about, say, your requirement of money for next round, meaning now you are planning to go to market, so you need to have a formal manufacturing setup and all infrastructural requirement. So you can actually list them and then find the total cost that you're going to incur, and then you show how much money you are going to bring and what is the shortfall that you are actually pitching for before the investors to get. Suppose you need $1 million, you tell your audience that I'm looking for $1 million, say for 20% of, in exchange for 20% of my equity. Then they're going to ask you what you want to do with this $1 million. Now you start blabbering, sends a very wrong message, and whatever wonderful things that you talk before that or after that cannot actually kind of neutralize this negative impact when you do not have data to justify why you need this money that you have just kind of called for, that I need this money. So here you have a shortfall of 7 crore rupees. So now you can tell your audience that I want to acquire this, I have this sources, I'm looking for 7 crore rupees, which is equivalent to $1 million, you're done. And you have to show projected profit loss account, projected cash flow statement, and projected balance sheet. You give the gist on the body and detail in the annexure. It's very important, and everything is done, particularly the profit loss account is done based on market research. I have discussed that in a separate session where market research actually come down to your addressable market and then how you're going to convert that into projected sales and profit loss account. Based on that, you do profit particularly is projected based on competition, meaning what is the price at which competitors' products are selling and what you think you can sell at which price. Chapter 8 is the risk, opportunities, rewards, and sensitivities. John F. Kennedy once said very famously that when written in Chinese the word crisis, it composed of two characters. Chinese language is full of characters actually. One represents danger and the other represents opportunity, meaning that crisis, risk, adversities, they always come hand in hand with opportunities. One has to be able to find out the opportunities. So risk and opportunities come hand in hand. So if you are thinking of an opportunity, risk will always be there. So you try to identify the strategies that you're going to adopt to translate the risk into opportunities. Opportunities are normally hidden in adversities. So you have to explain how you're going to transform this into opportunities. This is about risk. So having forecasted the projected financial, now provide the risk, means you identify the major risk that will come on your way to achieve these financials. Means what can actually prevent you from achieving these financials, and what are the likelihood of them actually manifesting. You can depict the risk perhaps in a canvas, that's what I'm proposing, with the likelihood, impact and likelihood in the following manner. I was inspired by the same book I mentioned. They have also shown almost the same thing. So here you just show that these are the major risks and these are the likelihood of them happening and these are impact. So depending on the location of particular, suppose this the book says clouds and stars, so you can call them same or whatever name you give. You can show that these are the major risks and these are the likelihood of them happening and this is the impact that is going to cause to your business. And then you have to show that, look, these risks come to these opportunities and these are the strategies for me to convert this risk into opportunities. So you should be able to convince. That is the purpose of showing this. And you set out and weigh up the big risk and how you convert that into opportunities. Their likelihood, likelihood of occurrence, impact on the bottom line, and cash flow, if they do occur. Check if there is any risk that can potentially kill your business. You must have a clear, comprehensive plan to beat that. On balance, size and likelihood of opportunities should beat the foreseeable risks. Opportunities should overshine the risk or outshine the risk. Rewards are the thing that you're going to show to your investors that, look, if you support us, if we have this money, we'll be successfully running this business. Maybe 5 years down the line or 4 years, after 4 years, we are going to grow into this valuation and your money is going to be multiplied 5 times, 3 times, 10 times or something. This is important because your audience is most interested in this data than anything else. And it is going to sound like a music to their ears. So you're going to satisfy them. So talk about it very loudly. Last one is sensitivities. Sensitivities, as I explained at the beginning, it is the numerical estimation of how your cash flow is affected by any of the big risks if they manifest. Meaning, if the price goes up by 5%, how it affects your cash flow. Or if the input cost goes up by 5%. Or if some suppliers stop supplying, then what are the alternatives? That, of course, won't be numerically expressed, translated, but then this is also part of the sensitivity analysis. You can also draw attention to the upside of something. Like suppose we have been always talking about risk. You can always say that, look, this is a tremendous opportunity waiting for us. If we can convert this, or maybe suppose you say that price may go down by 5%, we are affected this much. But if the price goes up by 5%, our profit may actually double because cost is not going to go up. So your gross profit goes up, the entire amount perhaps is converted into profit before tax. You pay tax and net profit perhaps doubles. Conclusion is very important. As I said, this is the slide, or this is the page where your audience is going to read for the last time, and this is going to give the last impression. And last impression is the most lasting impression. So you have to drive home the points which will make your case a compelling proposition for success. Now30 the other part of the technical part of the business plan. It should be something like 25 to 30 pages long. Should not be too short, too long. Ideally 35 A4 pages. The main chapters, that is the body of the material, should be something like 3 to 4 pages long. And particularly the business page, that should be about 4 to 6 pages. The first part, that is a summary, and the last chapter, the chapter 8, this should be kind of a couple of pages long. So everything together is going to be something like 35 pages. Very important is the style. Style, one may think that how does it matter? The content matters. But if content is presented in a shabby manner, the value is going to be lost. So style matters. Use words very sparingly, meaning that if a word can be removed, just eliminate that. That is not going to change your presentation. If any sentence can be removed without changing your business plan, that should be removed. Even a paragraph should be removed if that paragraph is not adding a lot of value. Make the most of design elements. Design elements are like headings, subheadings, like graphics, like bulleted lists. Normally a document is a boring piece of thing that people will never like to read. But if there are changes like this, there are headings, subheadings, and there are images, graphics, then it attracts people's attention and it distracts the monotony, breaks the monotony, and then they become interested to read the matter. So, and they kind of, you give something like this. Say you write only one sentence. There is very less possibility that people will read. But if you give the right side one with a pie chart, and chances are that People will immediately look at it and make the head and tail of it. But on the other side, people will kind of overlook if something is written in text format. So it is always better that you show graphics liberally. Should be able to grab the attention and keep it. So you should always be very focused, be very kind of should have a lot of formatting done, meaning there should be dynamism in the report. It should not look like a boring, monotonous report. Serial entrepreneur Steve Blank says only 0.3% of the proposals are accepted. That means 1 out of 300 proposals will be selected. So you can understand how many proposals they sift through, they evaluate. So that should that should give you a compelling reason to be more attentive on the style part of the report. Tell your story. At the beginning or somewhere, tell your story. There should be compelling part in it, and people should share. People will share your vision if the story is compelling and they share the same sentiment that you are trying to that sentiment that drove you to adopt this business model. Companies are positioned within a narrative. How your audience perceive that narrative will influence how they get invested in your vision. So not only customer, your co-founders, your early employees, your other stakeholders, your investors, all of them will share the same vision, provided you can tell your story in a compelling manner, and then they kind of become similarly emotional about it. Howard Gardner said, stories are the single most powerful weapon in a leader's arsenal, meaning that you can tell a story to your employees that, look, our mission is this, and what are we going to do to the society with this. If that is compelling, your employees will be more devoted towards their work. They will think that we are doing a we are solving a novel social cause, means we are furthering a novel social cause, something like that. So you can always tell a story and win in whatever. So know your audience and give the information they need to make decisions. Last but not the least, expert says that your business plan is a journey. That journey should traverse the 7 C's. What are they? Told very succinctly, it should be clear, good plan. It should be crisp, meaning short, simple, but cozy. It should be concise. It should be consistent. The journey should be kind of a smooth ride and consistent, nothing inconsistent, coherent and creditable. Only then it's going to be a winning proposition. I think that's all I have today. Thank you very much. These are references. I have used all these books and some concluding remarks, and then thank you. Welcome back. The topic of this session is writing a business plan. We are going to discuss the various elements of the business plan and the information that are contained so that you can project your business as a winning proposition before whosoever you are going to present. First off, let us make a distinction between business model and business plan. They're not the same thing, though they refer to the same thing, but they're distinctly different. Business model is the business that someone does or some team, a group of co-founders do to solve a problem through a superior value proposition compared to competitors, so that they can acquire and retain customers, and finally they can serve the customer through a profitable proposition. On the contrary, business plan is the description of the business model, meaning how you are going to execute the business model is a detailed elaboration of that, how you create competitive advantage, what are your unique selling proposition, how you are going to compete with competitors, how you are going to remain ahead of competition, what are the strategies that you are going to adopt to overcome the various challenges or the risks that you foresee that are likely to come. So this is what is business plan. So business plan is a written document that you present before an audience, or maybe it may remain with you as a ready reckoner as to what are your milestone and what you are going to achieve, etc., etc. So that is the succinct difference between business plan and business model. Now, if one has to define the business plan, the simplest form is that it's a guide, a roadmap for you, for your business, that outlines the goals and how you plan to achieve those goals. Goals, or maybe perhaps it's better to say how you're going to achieve the maybe mission vision. Ideally, the plan explains why you think you will be successful. So you have to prove before your audience that there are compelling reasons. You are going to give that reasons while explaining the challenges ahead, that these are the challenges and this is how we are going to overcome the challenges and become winner. Now the purpose of business plan. Before we enter into the elements of business plan, the purpose, most important purpose is it is an entrepreneur's ready reckoner. It remains with you and you follow that, or you revise that continuously depending on changing circumstances. Even more important than that is raising fund. Whenever you are raising fund, whether from an angel or VC, or maybe you are pitching before a kind of a committee where you will be incubated or accelerated. Even sometimes you invite some customers in a room and then you pitch before them about your objectives and how you're going to satisfy how their aspiration and your aspiration kind of converge at one point, so that everybody feels win-win. You can also pitch before your mentor or maybe potential buyer of your company at some point of time. So these are the reasons why you write a business plan. Before we dive into the business plan per se, here are some of the points that are critical for any business to be successful. So obviously these should form integral part of your business plan. What are these? The people, number one. Most VCs say we invest in the people, not really in the product or service. So people are most important. Who are the founders? What do they bring to the enterprise? Key employees means what are their skills and commitment? Mentors, directors. The opportunity. Opportunity is about everything. Opportunity involve the risk and or the challenges and the opportunity that you identify in the challenge. Because if there is an opportunity, without a challenge, opportunity doesn't exist. It evaporates within no time. So definitely there are challenges and you are overcoming the challenges to create an opportunity in that. So you kind of identify the pain point, the competing solutions available, so you come up with a superior value proposition, etc. The context means what is the industry scenario now. It is the big picture, and you want to say why this is relevant at this point of time, why we think that this is the right time for this business to be successful. The risk and reward. The whole presentation will be around risk and reward, because you are in front of investors or people that matters, and there for every business, a business is around the risk and reward, meaning you are trying to alleviate some pain, and that comes with a lot of risk because there are competitors, there are other people who are waiting to grab this opportunity, and you have a superior proposition or superior execution strategies that you are going to convert the challenges into rewards, and your audience will be interested to understand that reward, means how the investors are going to reap the benefit, or how you are going to create value for you, for the nation, for all the employees, for all other stakeholders. So whatever is the motive, the final objective is that you want to project or you want to show how you think that there are compelling reasons for you to be successful, meaning how you're going to navigate through challenges to emerge and become successful. Your focus must be to bring that story before the audience. Okay, now coming to the main topic of the day, major components of business plan. There are many templates available. I'll show you some of them, but we're going to adopt this for further discussion. And I have the reference for this particular template in the next slide. So it starts with the cover page. Okay, before even going to that, know that there are two formats of business plan. One is a written document that you send across to the either funding agencies or investors or maybe in a competition. That is a text document. Whereas there is another format that you present before the audience in person. That is a PowerPoint document, mostly. So there are two formats. Today we are discussing the written document. What are the items that are to be there in the document, written format? And for that, cover page is a very important thing. Remember that first impression is the lasting impression. And cover page is the page what is visible when your business plan is stacked with many other business plans. So when somebody is flipping through the plans, your plan, the cover page itself should catch their eyes, their attention. So immediately they should think that, okay, this looks so professional. So they will immediately pick that up and then flip the pages. So cover page actually should be such that your business plan stands out to the crowd. Contents. Content is again very important. Why so? Because people do not have time to go through the entire business plan to understand what all you have covered. Contents in single page tells your audience what all to expect in the report. It tells that you have been detailed in presenting the business plan, meaning you have covered almost everything that your audience will be looking forward to. If the content is not there, it becomes very boring because they have to flip through the pages. It's very difficult to find the right items that somebody will be liking to look for. Executive summary. You should give your best shot, because know that it is the executive summary which is going to be read by everybody. And many of them, maybe 90% of them, will not have the time to really go beyond the executive summary pages, because there is a short of time and they have to sift through so many business plans. So they will always try to read the executive summary, and if somebody has the time, maybe they will read the concluding paragraph or something. And if reading the executive summary, somebody find compelling reason to flip through the pages and know more about certain things, they will only then go through. But if executive summary itself is not so attractive, it's not covering the core idea, core competitive advantages, core philosophies through which you are actually going to be successful, the reason, if it doesn't emerge out of the executive summary, people will not read them forward. Then the business is everything. It's the background of the business, and the business makes, market makes, product makes, what is the pain and how, where means it will tell your audience where do you come from and where you are now. Competitive advantages, including value proposition. Strategies for operating management, means how you think that your operation is going to be the most efficient operation. Then how you plan for a lean system, supply and bias management, so that your input cost also is kind of optimally reduced, minimal. Then the resources. Resources is very wide. It includes your input resources, it includes your management resources, marketing resources, operation resources, your technology, access to technology, maybe financial resources as well. So we're going to discuss that moving forward. Then comes financial outlay and financial performance, meaning the projected financials. Number 8 is risk, opportunities, rewards, and sensitivities. So what are the risks that you foresee, or the biggest risk that you foresee that may actually have huge impact on your business, then how you're going to work around or overcome those risks and create a unique opportunity around that, and how your execution of this whole plan is going to create rewards for you as well as for your investors, so that your investors would be interested to fund. Then the sensitivities, meaning there are parameters on which your business performance will depend, and for changing a little bit of any of these parameters, say your selling price goes down by 5%, how your bottom line or profit is going to change. That shows how sensitive is your business performance on selling price or input cost or labor cost, interest rate, etc., etc. So how sensitive is your business on all these parameters that are potential killer of your business, maybe, to exaggerate. Then conclusion. Conclusion is not all that essential, but then in conclusion, you can actually drive home the point, or in a very concise manner, you can actually kind of mold the decision process of your audience. Meaning whatever they want to decide about your business plan, you can actually help them to make that decision. You can mold their opinion, their kind of philosophies or whatever they're thinking, you can channelize that into something by pointing out or focusing on your key advantages or key strengths. So they'll revisit at the end, okay, so these are the points, right? So this is a good business. More importantly, people say that first impression and the last impression should be wonderful. Even if the whole body of the presentation is not so well, but if the conclusion is wonderful, it's going to be a winning proposition. Because even in a lecture, if your last sentence is wonderful, perhaps people will give you a standing ovation. But if you talk so exciting things, interesting things, but you end in a very naive manner, not so attractive manner, perhaps you don't win the audience heart. So conclusion gives you an opportunity to say something wonderful. Then the appendix, it contains all elaborate calculations like detailed profit loss account, then balance sheet, etc., etc. You can give your market research, glimpses of the market research that you have done, and many other things that will overload the body. You don't want to unnecessarily load that. So you can come there, means it can come there. As I said, there are many templates. Harvard Business Review has this template. Then Sequoia Capital, who are conspicuous investors in India, majority of the startup that you think they're making noise and they're becoming successful, chances are very high Sequoia has been the first investor in those companies. They also continue to invest as the companies grow. So when somebody has been kind of evaluating thousands of business plans and they're funding, they're seeing that people becoming successful, whatever template they suggest, we have every reason to think that it's kind of getting something from the horse's mouth. I actually like this one. It is by Forbes and written by Dave Lavinsky. This is also wonderful. Every one of them is wonderful, but you will notice that they kind of talk about the same elements, but in a slightly different manner, not really significantly different. There are some nuances, and that aside, they have the major same elements. So I have given the references also at some point, and you can visit them. And if you are really writing a business plan, you can follow any one of them, but I am going to follow the one that I have referred at the beginning. First chapter, after your cover page and contents, first chapter is executive summary. What should contain there? Executive summary should contain everything about your business, because you should remain alert, mindful that this is the only portion that people are going to read. So in a couple of pages, maybe 2 pages, you have the opportunity to bring everything and show people that there are compelling reason to believe that your business is going to be successful. So that should be your motivation, your driving force while writing executive summary. So it starts with business, meaning what business it is. Then the team. Then the proposal, meaning what the proposition, Proposal means what the pain point that you're solving and how you're solving. Why now? What is the relevance, the big picture? What is the technology domain? Means how the technology is progressing and why this is the right time for this entire marketplace to depend on, like say 5G. If 5G is just coming, as we know, so there will be many related businesses which are particularly important for 5G. So you can always say that 5G is just coming and this business the right time for this. If I don't do it, tomorrow somebody else will do and become successful. Why it will succeed? So we give all compelling reasons for it to be success. What is the reward? Meaning particularly rewards refers to the rewards that you are going to give to the investors, meaning how they are going to exit with what, how many times their investment is going to be multiplied. Measure risks and how you can minimize them. Obviously, this is the topic. Executive summary for most readers, it will be the only few pages that they will read. Look at what Van Evans say. Van Evans wrote the book, and I have given the reference at the bottom, or maybe some other places also. And I find this book is wonderful. So this is just a line copied from there. This entire presentation is inspired by his book. I spend time on executive summary, nurture it, hone it, and edit it remorselessly. Even give it to professional to edit. It may be the best investment to make. Nothing is exaggerated. It's so true, because these two pages are going to either make or break your business. Make the first impression. As I said, when you meet somebody, you create an impression in first 15 seconds. That there is a saying. Similarly, when you read the summary, you create impression about the whole business plan. Whatever is there, it's very difficult to modify that. You create something not so impressive, you won't be able to impress writing so much in the body. So give your best shot. But then don't keep a single word in the summary which you can remove without making significant value reduction, meaning that if a word can be eliminated, just eliminate. Remain as precise as possible. Chapter 2 is the business, meaning your business. That has two subsections. One is background, another is business mix by segment. Means you have to show or present it there. First part is the background. Background has many parts. You brief your audience on the bare essentials. See, background contains your business, meaning where you come from, and for whom, means what pain, and who has the pain, and why now, and where these people reside, meaning the customer segment. Then how you're going to solve, where are you now, meaning up to what extent you have done the progress. Highlight the traction. Traction means if you have made any progress whatsoever. Suppose you are incubated by some organization, so that is a traction. Suppose you have talked to some big persons, he has become your mentor, is a traction. You got your first customer, is a traction. Got your product validated, is traction. So highlight the traction that you have achieved. We will briefly set out why business poised to enjoy a substantial competitive advantage. Introduce more details. You have given something in the executive summary. Now bring them in more detail here. This is where the reader is introduced to the business, where you set out clearly and concisely what makes your business tick, why your business is going to be successful. In background, there are 5 major items. There may be many. So opener, goals and objectives, strategies, resources, and basic financials. Just give a summary of the financials, nothing beyond the summary. So first is the opener. Opener again is the opener of the background. The opener should be just one paragraph containing the following. Opener should not, it means nothing should be too much
सो गाइस, ये बिजनेस प्लान था पूरा। आप लोग 3 से 4 अपने इंटरनल के लिए टाइमली कनेक्ट कर लेना अपनी प्रैक्टिकल फाइल के साथ, और अगर वीडियो बनाई हो तो वो वीडियो ग्रुप में सेंड कर दो, सबमिटेड टू मिस्टर लवलेश लिख के। वीडियो का नाम सबमिटेड टू मिस्टर लवलेश और इंट्रोडक्शन टू फूड प्रोडक्शन, और उसको ग्रुप में सेंड कर दो, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में, सो दैट आपके इंटरनल में मार्क्स में लगा पाऊं। और इंटरनल के लिए 2 से 3 कनेक्ट कर लेना। इंट्रोडक्शन टू फूड प्रोडक्शन का आपका इंटरनल टेस्ट है, तो अपनी अपनी प्रैक्टिकल फाइल लेके बैठेगा, ठीक है?